Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al, week 7 on Draftkings, and I have another cage match for you, a head-to-head battle. Today's head-to-head battle is going to be with Andy Holloway of the Fantasy Footballers. He's going to join us on the show in just a bit. For those of you who don't know what this show is all about, every Wednesday we do a head-to-head battle, and this differs from a head-to-head game that you might play on DraftKings in the sense that we're going to draft, but using the salaries that they have on DraftKings. If you play a head-to-head on DraftKings, there's 9 spots, and you can have overlap with your opponent, meaning that you might end up playing like a 2 versus 2 of unique players or a 3 versus 3 of unique players, as most of the chalkier, better plays are pretty much held by a lot of different people in cash. They have high overlap. It just kind of is what it is. So I created this kind of game style that we draft against one another where you can get sniped. If I pick somebody, he can't have him. If he picks somebody, I can't have him. So what we're going to do is end up with 2 completely unique lineups to play head-to-head with one another, and we're going to be playing for charity. 100% of the ad revenue that is raised on this video is going to be donated to my charity at the end of the year when we add up all 17 of them for the regular season. And my guest gets to choose which charity he's going to play for, as well as the amount that we're going to play for. So today, Andy has chosen that he is going to play for the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, raising money to find a cure for cancer. I, as always, am going to be playing for No Kid Hungry, providing food to kids who are food insecure across America and school lunches so that they can do better, especially with schools closed in a number of states right now because of COVID-19. They're still providing food for kids who a lot of times rely on school lunches and cafeterias for their meals on an everyday basis. So let me bring in Andy. Andy, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Al. Appreciate you having me on. Look forward to it. See if I can add to your losing streak. We're going to give it a shot.
4 in a row is upsetting.
I love it. This will be fun.
It should be. My guest gets to choose whether or not they want to go first or whether or not they choose to go second and 2. And then we're going to go 1-1-1 the rest of the way. Andy has said that he wants me to kick it off.
Yep. I'm gonna hand it over to you. I'll take the 2.
That's fine. That's fine. So all things considered, I mean, there's a lot of context here when you're dealing with drafting a fantasy football team on DraftKings, and the way that I want to do it, especially for a cage match like this where there's a couple of guys that I may not have access to coming back, is usually to get the top value play or top value plays on the board. So there's one that I really want to focus on, and that is Justin Jackson at 4,900 for the Los Angeles Chargers. Going up against Jacksonville, who've allowed more yards per drive, more points per drive than any other team in the league. He's 4,900. This is a 5-box running back for this week. He's at home. He's favored, has an expectation of 20 touches. He gets the inside the 5 carries. He's involved in the passing game. You also get the bonus of him being against a really soft matchup, as well as them having a really high team total. So he checks off all 5 boxes and more. I'm going to start with Justin Jackson. I'm going to kick it back to you.
Yeah, I like that pick. We've talked a lot about Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly and wondering how much of that early Joshua Kelly was more of a mirage. It looked like Jackson was the better player and just more opportunity. I think they trust him more. So it makes sense. It's a good pick. So I get 2 now, right?
You get 2
All
back
right.
to back.
All right. This will be fun. I'm going to kick it off actually with Tyreek Hill at 6,400.
Now, you don't usually like him because floor to ceiling differences.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take him in this one. On the road, he's had he's averaging more than 80 yards on the road, and he's got a situation here where we've got a track record of him scoring on the road, and that value, I think, at 6,400 is a great way to kick this thing off. And then I'm gonna come back with just a matchup play, a guarantee, and I'm going to lock him in, and it's Alvin Kamara. I'm going to take Alvin Kamara against Carolina. This is just a home run. We know the matchup is great. Everybody but Kenyon Drake has shown that to us. And so, yeah, I'm going to take Kamara with that second pick.
And we're not bitter at all about that. We're not bitter at all that Kamara did not do well. We wish him the best. It just kind of is what it is. It didn't work out in that situation. I, for one, am not at all bitter still to this day about that in the least.
I love it.
Kamara's probably the number 1 play on the board, I think. Solid pick there. 7,900. I understand this is just a thing that DraftKings is doing, that like they're not pricing up the running backs, but like again, this is just like 2016 when we had Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson at his peak, where
Those
these
were
guys
good
were
days.
$9,500 to $10,000 running backs on DraftKings, and you had to figure out if you were going to jam them in, how to make it work at other positions. They've just made it really nice and friendly with the low running back prices this year. So I like those two picks to start. I'm going to go a different route than I normally do. And again, this is just to maximize pain. This is what I want to do. I want to make your Sunday as disruptive and upsetting as possible. So I'm going to take Kyler Murray.
Oh man.
That's the reaction I was looking for.
Yeah, so now I can half root for my home team. That's the goal.
Yes. See,
I was just looking at Kyler today. He's the only in redraft. He's the only quarterback through 6 weeks that has a top 12 performance in all 6 weeks.
Like a top 5 performance, right?
In almost all of them, yeah. But I mean, just across all 6, he's been. Most quarterbacks they'll dip in and out every once in a while, but Kyler's been crazy consistent in half-point leagues. I think he's finished literally at number 5 like 4 times or something like that. So this, despite 9 pass attempts last week, he's just incredible on the ground too. Yeah,
had his worst efficiency day through the air in week 6 against Dallas, the team that I have deemed the fantasy carnival. Now he gets to go back home against Seattle, who is next to Dallas. Whether you want, little from column A, little from column B, which one's the best fantasy matchup? I don't care because they both are great. I'm going to take him again. His rushing floor, he's getting like Lamar Jackson type usage on the ground, and has scored a touchdown on the ground in every game except one. And assuming how terrible Seattle has been against the pass, I think this is a great spot for Kyler Murray. I normally wait really late to take a quarterback, but I couldn't wait to take Kyler against you, and I was kind of hoping that you wouldn't take him with your back. Second and 2, I thought you were going to go with Kyler, and I was like, he left him. I have to take him now. So I'm plugging him in.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And now strategically, I know that I can wait very long for my quarterback position.
Be your last pick?
I know it. So, in that case, I'm going to go another heavy hitter here.
All right.
I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. I'm going to take Aaron Jones against Houston. Aaron Jones, 7,200. We had kind of the first. I mean, it's not even a dud game for Aaron Jones last time out against Tampa Bay, but it was for the entire offense. He still ended up in that top 15 range. But he's been one of the most dominating performers in fantasy, so I'm going to take him here. I'm going to pair him with Kamara.
Look, Aaron, I think you have to throw out any matchup against Tampa Bay for running backs, right? Like, we judge running backs and say, well, he's done this every single game. Like, one, that defense took over the game and ran away from, like, they just boat raced Green Bay. And none of that is Aaron Jones's fault. This is a great matchup. Houston is terrible, like the antithesis of what the Tampa Bay defense is against running backs. So, I believe
they're dead last right now.
They're not good
in fantasy points given up against running backs. So I like
it. They are not good. So again, I'm gonna complete the pain here.
Oh gosh.
And I'm gonna take Christian Kirk off the board at 4,900 because I know you need value with those 3 studs that you've taken, and I'm not gonna let you have Kirk at 4,900 off of this massive game that he just had at the Fantasy Carnival. He had a funnel cake and got on the Ferris wheel and now he's 4,900 because the price didn't adjust because prices were out before that game finished. So give me all the Christian Kirk and his long ADP or his long ADOT, as well as how many yards per game Arizona is giving up or Seattle is giving up against opposing passers and deep passes. By far the most points allowed to opposing wide receivers. So yeah, I'm in.
I'm going to be honest. That one hurt a lot more than the Kyler Murray one. A lot more.
Never saw it coming, did you?
No, I didn't. And that's exactly why I didn't take Kirk when I picked Aaron Jones, because Kirk's on the list for today. The value is there. I went with Aaron Jones, and I should have gone with Kirk right then. I should have been relaying into my brain the pain focus, because you've gone away. You don't care if you win anymore. You just want to bring pain.
Yeah, that's all. I just want to inflict as much pain into my opponent's Sunday as possible.
Yeah, shoot.
Every time that ball goes up and the camera kind of tracks down the field, you're just going to be saying, please, just let it be Isabella. Please, just please.
Well, you see, now you've got me overthinking this next pick too, because I know the angle, and I doubt that you would go trips Cardinals on me, but just in case you would, I'm taking the $4,800 Kenyon Drake right here, right now.
Okay.
I am not a giant Kenyon Drake fan. Last week, garbage time, the big touchdown run, the stories we heard on our show of the miracle wins from a garbage time 69-yard touchdown. But the fact of the matter is the opportunities each and every week are there for Kenyon Drake. He may not look great in them. He may not be getting the targets that sustained him last year, but the touchdowns are there. We know Seattle, Arizona, this game's got a high over-under. It's going to go back and forth. And the price, I mean, $4,800 for 20-plus opportunities. I'm going to grab it now before you decide to draft my entire home team.
And just take all of it away from you?
Destroy my Sunday. I'll have to pick somebody else.
Well, you've locked up your flex spot, which means I kind of don't need to draft running backs now. I can go different routes. Drake has definitely gotten the volume.
I did set you up for that, didn't I?
What? maybe not. Let's see where I want to go here. There is somebody else that I want that I think is a massive value this week. And I mentioned the Fantasy Carnival, and we have somebody in Terry McLaurin who's going up against Dallas this week, who, if you kind of look at his game logs, everybody says, well, he's got 16.2 DraftKings points per game. He's having a good season. He is having a good season. When you look a little bit closer, when we take a little bit more of a micro view, he's faced the New York Giants and Bradbury. He's been shadowed by Ramsey. He's faced Baltimore, who's a great defense. He's faced Arizona and Pat Pete. And in week 1, he saw Darius Slay. Finally, we have somebody who is not going to show up on the other side in a bad matchup in a wide receiver cornerbacks article in week 7. And he's only 5,800. So how can I not take Terry McLaurin?
It's a great pick. And I can tell you it's a great pick because we have our starts of the week on tomorrow's episode. And TMC, Terry McLaurin, is my start of the week at the wide receiver position. That's a little spoiler alert for those
watching. Who watch both channels. Yeah, there you go. Now you know.
Now you know.
Something to look forward to.
It's a great pick.
Thank you.
I'm not exactly sure what happened to Hopkins last week with just a couple of targets. Mostly it was not needing to do much, I think, with the fumbles by Zeke. But no, McLaurin, he's somebody I'm even targeting as a buy low in all redraft formats because the target volume's there. I know how ugly it is in Washington and trying to figure out, these targets are not all targets are made equal. But
of course.
But what, 14 last week? And now he gets Dallas?
DJ Moore in the same offense with literally the same quarterback last year did numbers in full PPR. And it's not like you were looking to get rid of DJ Moore. But again, if you look at who he's faced and what schedule he's got coming, it's a lot nicer. It's a lot more friendly for Terry McLaurin moving forward. So yeah, I definitely, if you're playing season long in transactional leagues, go get him.
Yeah. What was the price on McLaurin?
58.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good pick. All right. I'm going to go with the $6,700 Kenny Golladay this week. This is the smash Golladay week. He has been good, not great through his first 3 games back from injury. 56-point over-under. I love the Atlanta Detroit game. And then we know Atlanta's problems through and through on the defensive side. They're 28th against opposing fantasy wide receivers. This is the game that they get it going in the passing game. Last week, I think it could have happened. They end up with the goal line carries. I think Swift had 2 touchdowns. Peterson had 1. I'm gonna give Kenny G the nod this week.
Fair enough. You got 4,200 remaining. Granted, he's got a defense, so he can shave off some of that average remaining, boost it a little bit. Tight end also a position where you can save, and there's plenty of value at wide receiver. Chat's a little worried that you're going to run out of money. He's got plenty of money. There's plenty of guys that he can go get.
I think I can sort it out.
Yeah, and going with a team jam him in approach at running back, a preferred approach of mine pretty much all the time, every week, forever. So I do like your team. I do like the pain that I can possibly inflict, though. Let's take a look somewhere here for me. I might check this back to you, because I think there's things that you can't do that I can do. And so I don't like there's another play that I could load up on, but I don't really want to load up on this team. So I'm going to go a different route here. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. Now, good. He missed practice on Wednesday. I don't pay very much attention to Wednesday practice reports. As always in the cage match, if somebody that we draft, because we do these on Wednesday, if one of the players is out on the weekend, you can change that player for as much salary as you have remaining in that spot. You can't change anything else unless a player is out. So Kareem Hunt at 6,800 for me is a tremendous value here. Everybody's going to game log watch and look at, well, he only got 15 touches last week. Yeah, but they got boat raced by the Steelers on the road. So there was absolutely no chance for Stefanski to establish the run like he likes to do on a week in, week out basis. So Kareem Hunt going up against Cincinnati with a total of 52 and a lot of expected points and no Nick Chubb means that he's going to get 65, maybe 70% of the, or plus of the running back touches and running back share of snaps on this Cleveland Browns team. He's 6,800. It's a little bit too cheap in my estimation. I think that he should be a little bit higher. So I get a bit of a price bargain here, a little bit of a mismatch, and allows me to get a high volume running back in a high scoring environment. So I'll take Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I love Hunt this week. You almost have to just throw those Pittsburgh games just out the window when you kind of prognosticate these running backs. They're just so dominant up front.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? One play by Miles Sanders to save the entire week for him. Otherwise, he was less than a yard per carry. So, no, it makes sense for a bounce back game for that team altogether on offense. So I guess in this case, I really don't like that you made that pick. So.
All right. So it's a good pick that you hate.
That's right. That's right. I know where I'm going to go at quarterback, but I don't have to do it right now.
Exactly.
So, you took Christian Kirk away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Displeased. What was he? 4,900.
Yeah.
I think Tim Patrick's interesting. I think he's at 4,500 this week, but I'm actually going to go with, I think the player that benefits from that big arm the most, I'm going to take Mike Williams, wide receiver. He's at 4,700 this week. I don't know about you. I've been so impressed with Justin Herbert and his willingness.
Same.
You bring the rookie in, and what are we going to see from Tua, right? Are we going to see the dink and dunk? Are we going to see some game management? Herbert is just slinging it. And that guy's arm talent, you put it up there with you've got Mahomes and you've got Josh Allen. He's entering that stratosphere with what he's able to do. And nobody knows how to go up and get it better than Mike Williams. So I will pivot from the Kirk play that I really liked. I will go to a little bit more boom bust, frightening Mike Williams. But I think he can get it done this week against Jacksonville.
I think that's fair. I do like the pick, but I'm not allowed to say his name as he is the name that shall not be spoken. He has been redacted.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You have a history with Mr. Mike Williams?
Yes. I cannot. I mean, look, I can
I
say
tried, yeah.
No, I can say it. I could just say right? Like, it's very easy for me to do. Like, look, guys, I can do it. But it is what it is. If you want to click on the Teespring store down below, we have redacted shirts in powder blue with gold writing across the front, if that's the route that you want to go. There's one more redacted player. I think that both are in play on this slate, but as you guys know, I'm not allowed to say their names or talk about them. So just kind of is what it is.
I love it.
Coming back to me here. I got a wide receiver. I need a tight end. I have an idea of where I want to go at tight end. I don't think defense is all that important. It's clearly important from a point scoring point of view, but there's actually a few that are interesting this week, and they're not all very expensive in the least. So I'm going to go for, you talked about Herbert, and I think that his favorite wide receiver, Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
The only game that Herbert has started that he has not gotten double-digit targets was against New Orleans when he left that game early and had 2 catches in the first quarter and a touchdown. He's had double-digit targets or a touchdown in every game that Herbert has started. That sort of volume we've seen before from Keenan Allen a couple of years ago when he was one of the most dominating fantasy football wide receivers, especially for daily fantasy on a week-in, week-out basis. And his price has come down. He's 6,200 from his peak of 6,500 the previous 2 weeks, probably because of that injury where he only had 2 targets. So DraftKings pricing algorithm priced him down a little bit. I understand that I've got a running back and a wide receiver from the same team, but I believe that both of these players can get me to the threshold of points that I want on volume alone without finding them way into the box. But if they do, it's going to be an absolute jackpot for one or both of them. They have a team total of 28.5, so 4 expected touchdowns possible in this game. Love Keenan Allen this week. Want to get me shares of him. So here it is.
And here we are showing our confidence in Justin Herbert together.
Right.
What happened? Yeah, incredible.
I was talking to Mike Clay about this morning.
About Herbert?
About Herbert, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we're digressing for half a second here, but like
Sure.
2 years ago, he was like the #1 rated college quarterback, expected to be the first quarterback taken. And as happens when anybody stays in college an extra year, it just puts them further under the microscope. And nobody's looking for their positives anymore. They're looking for any flaws that they can find, any chinks in the armor that they can just try and expose. And that kind of hurt him going back.
Yeah.
And now here he is, and people are like, wow, this guy came out of nowhere. He didn't come out of nowhere. He was like the #1 QB prospect for 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. You remember Jake Locker came back for another year. You remember that? And it changed his draft prognosis too. I was a little unsure on Herbert. I really didn't know if he had the makeup to do it, but I've been very impressed. I mean, and I feel like pretty quickly. I mean, there have been players, the early draft busts like Rosen, where you're just like, you just knew kind of quick that there wasn't a special
see him out
play.
There, it's like, nope.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, you can, and that's why I was proud of my hometown Cardinals for being willing to say, yeah, we're moving on after 1 year, after trading up to grab him. Like we could have been in the doldrums of Josh Rosen for 3 or 4 years trying to make it work. So, but here we are back to back. We're going Herbert targets. So that'll make that game pretty exciting.
It will.
We'll get to see where he throws the ball.
Every time it goes up in the air, we're going to be like, please don't let it be the other guy. If I see dreads, I'm going to be panicking.
Yeah. Yeah. If you see the player that goes up and somehow 3 stories high always falls crashing to the ground and you always think he's hurt, that's my guy. That's my guy.
Or if you see the guy that just runs along and then falls by himself and always gets hurt, that's my guy.
All right. I am here's my value free square for your chat that's freaking out. I'm actually going to go with the as inexpensive as it gets tight end James O'Shaughnessy in Jacksonville. He's 2,600. He's the free play here. Eifert's going to miss this week. I'm looking at he's going to get 3 or 4 opportunities. Hopefully he ends up in the end zone, but that affords me to go heavy on these running backs. So I will go O'Shaughnessy and, smile when he falls into the end zone.
If he does fall in the end zone, I'm going to be very upset. But you know what I'm thinking of when I look at his player profile picture here?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
I'm just going to say, that's it.
Okay.
You draw your own conclusions there.
That's the sound he'll make when he enters the
He goes in the end zone. His teammates,
right.
His touchdown dances, his teammates poke him in the stomach, and he goes,
hey, no Eifert. Let's go. Let's go, man. James. Let's go, James.
Next man up.
By the what has he got? The matchup same game as the Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and the Chargers struggling against tight ends. Yeah, that game we're kind
of stacked up on that game, and rightfully so. It's one of the higher totaled games on the slate.
All right, where are you going now?
Where am I going now? Now, I could check this back to you by picking a defense, and just take one off the board and then make my last couple of spots while you pick your quarterback. I think that there are a couple of good defenses out there, and I think that they're not all that expensive. And one of them, I think, is going to go against the guy I believe you might be taking at quarterback here. And I love their defensive line. And I like what they've been doing. Granted, they're on the road. I understand it has a high total as well. I think that we're going to get pressure on a rookie quarterback. We're going to do it with a team that's got a great defensive line to offensive line mismatch, and that's going to be the Cleveland Browns at 2,800. I have them as one of the better values on the board on defense. Hopefully we can get a pick 6 or a strip sack.
I think that's a great pick. I was definitely targeting the Browns. So you have between Kirk and Cleveland, you have done well for yourself, sir.
Don't worry, I'll lose.
Yeah, we'll see. In that case, I already know you got a defense, you got a quarterback. Doesn't matter what order I take mine in. I'm gonna stack here. I'm going Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
I'm going Matthew Stafford against Atlanta. The over-under is incredible. Atlanta, all they do is give up top 12 performances to quarterbacks, and really it's top 6 performances to quarterback all year long. I think it's the breakout game for Golladay. I'm going to stack Stafford with him, which leaves me with like 3,200 left.
You can pick your defense. Left. Go for it.
All right. We will. All right. You took one that I was looking for there in the Browns, which means that I am going to end up hoping, praying that I end up with the less talented Teddy Bridgewater this week. I will take the Saints putting on pressure. Don't know if Curtis Samuel will be back this week, but I'm going to go with the Saints defense coming off of the bye week. Not been as good as they were last year, but I think they can get it done this week at 3,200.
Fair enough. All right, let me bring the Zoom share back up here. You've got the Saints defense. That puts you zeroed out. Matt Stafford, Kamara, Jones, and Drake at running back, Tyreek Hill, Kenny Golladay, Mike Williams, James O'Shaughnessy, and the Saints defense. Leaving me with two spots.
I'm rooting for James O'Shaughnessy more than anybody now in this entire league.
I need RotoWare to make an O'Shaughnessy Pillsbury Doughboy sort of t-shirt.
I love it. I love it.
No offense, the guy's an elite athlete. I'm taking nothing away from him. He's way better shape than I've ever been in. Please, before anybody in the comments gets reckless. I'm going to pay up at tight end. It's something that I don't normally do, but he's been so good basically all season long. Very consistent, either a touchdown or 70+ yards in every single game. Travis Kelce going up against Denver last year. In their 2 games, he caught 17 of the 20 targets that were headed his way. So I'm going to pile up here. I know you have Hill. I'm not picking him because you have Hill, but it's not a bad idea to try and go against where you're at here. There's somebody else that I wasn't as high on as everybody else. As you can see, I've got this range of 5,200. I've wanted to play multiple players against Dallas pretty much all season long.
It's a good policy.
It's worked.
Yeah.
And Antonio Gibson coming off of a bad game against the Giants, but very included in the pass game, regardless of the fact that McKissick has turned into essentially James White and Tariq Cohen, getting like 7-8 targets a game. Gibson is getting a good enough amount of targets a game facing Dallas, who has been awful at literally everything on defense. There's like 11 trash bags on the field right now for them defensively, and it's easy to run around them and get into the end zone. So I'm taking Antonio Gibson here at 5K. Gives me the value that I need, gives me a third running back that I think can get or at least approach 20 touches this week. Probably 16, 17 is where I'm expecting him, with the upside of getting 20 and elevated touchdown expectation here and big playability. Finishing me off with Kyler, Jackson, Hunt, Kirk, McLaurin, Keenan, Kelsey, and Antonio Gibson. I kind of thought about going with a wide receiver in flex and just taking Nook Hopkins there and really making you hurt on Sunday, but I chose Kelsey and Gibson instead.
Oh,
and I hope that you appreciate it.
Yeah, I do. And that whole conversation about Gibson's an interesting one too, because especially for my co-host Mike, I mean, he is a Gibson truther, and every time McKissick's out on the field, it just brings him so much pain because he just wants to see Gibson have more opportunity, and especially against the Dallas defense. I don't know what it is. I know he's not been great in some of the pass protection. Maybe that's a piece of the equation, but he's the kind of player that in the Washington offense, you give him enough opportunities. He's been getting into the end zone a little bit. It should be interesting. This is going to be a fun matchup. I like both our teams.
I think it's really close. I think that we've got some really great players in high scoring matchups that have a lot of volume. This could be a very high scoring affair with both teams getting over 150, 160 points. And again, playing for 2 great charities, St. Jude's Hospital and No Kid Hungry. They'll be linked down below in the description if you want to take part in the charitable giving and give to one or both of these charities. Every dollar counts. So if you want to be a part of something bigger than you, go look down below, click show more, and donate to charities. Andy, thank you for joining me. For those of you who don't know, who do watch the Fantasy Footballers, Jason and Mike are sitting at the desk next to Andy while you saw him point at Mike across the table when he was talking about Antonio. It's because he's sitting there right now, because that is how they do things every day. Thank you for joining me. We're going to have Mike on the show in a couple of weeks, and hopefully I can get Jason by the end of the season. But best of luck to you, brother.
Hey, absolutely, man. Best of luck to you as well. Appreciate you having me on. I love doing this.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Look for another video right where my face is.
He's a legend.